in the ice. Rolling the dice, king of the jungle, they call me Mufasa. You are the cub and I am the lion. Look at my canine so sharp, cannibalism with animals. Niggas salute the general. Big boy Vader, you done know. Roll that blunt joint, smoke it, pinpoint, smoke purple, sit boy, cats go salute my dogs.
Yo, and welcome to another episode of the ODSC vlog. Only director says cut. And right now I'm going to show you how I created this video using a green screen.
And redefined by an ever-changing status quo. And I like having frank and open discussions and conversations about that.
So first things first, I was not planning to shoot this video with a green screen background. So basically what happened was the client was coming to the studio to shoot their podcast. And at the last minute, they call me and they tell me, yo, we want to shoot a short intro video for our YouTube channel. So at the time, because we were already setting up for the podcast in studio, we didn't have like a nice background that they can do this intro video for their YouTube channel in front of. So I had to improvise. And we had this big green screen cloth laying around in studio. So I was like, let me try doing green screen, it was actually my first time doing green screen. So, but you just watch a YouTube video and you figure it out. So just a little tip, I just want to say, so the only time you should use a green screen is if you do not have the budget to travel to the actual location or to book the location. Or the only other time where you'd use a green screen is if your video or your story is based on a location or a world that doesn't exist, like in science fiction movies. So in our case, the clients wanted to maximize on their budget and just use the studio time that they booked to shoot both the podcast and their intro video for their YouTube channel. So basically budget, Now, because we were using a cloth for our green screen, we had to first iron it to get rid of the wrinkles, because wrinkles cause shadows. And shadows are the biggest thing you do not want on your green screen. It just makes it hard to key out the green screen when you're editing. Keying is removing the green screen from your subject when you're editing. So my next challenge was, because we were using a podcast studio and it didn't really have backdrop stands, and neither did we because we were not prepared to shoot green screen today. So we had to improvise, and so we used clamps to hang the green screen on the rails above the podcast sets where we usually hang things like lights and stuff. We had to use double-sided tape just to make sure that we stretch out the cloth so that there's no wrinkles and that it's as smooth as possible, especially if you're using cloth. Once all that was done, it was now time to light up our green screen. And how you do this is you want to make sure that you have dedicated lighting just for the green screen. What you want to do is you want to make sure that your green screen is evenly lit from top to bottom, left, right, which means no side is brighter than the other side, It's equally lit. I must admit, we didn't do a good job here because number one, we didn't have enough lights to light up such a big green screen. And number two, we had to use house lights as additional lighting. And you don't want to use house lights because you cannot adjust the color temperature of house lights. So they will always clash in temperature with your LED lights, and this can cause one side of your video to basically look warmer than the other side of your video. So because I had a plan to balance it all in color grading, I was like, okay, cool, let's just leave the house lights on and let's just go, because you have to improvise, you have to keep it going. Next, you want to have lighting for your subject. And how you light your subject is, you light your subject in the same way your chosen background is lit, which means you have to try to match the direction of your subject's light source to the direction of your background's light source. So if your background's light source is coming from the left, you have to make sure that your subject's light source is also coming from the left. Also, you have to make sure that you match the color temperature of the lighting of your background. So if your background has a cool color temperature, then you have to match your subject's color temperature to the background's color temperature. So here's a quick tip. If you really have to do a green screen video and you do not have a chosen background and you just want to do a green screen video right now and you want to replace with whatever background of your choice later on, So it happens just like with our situation. So what you can do is, my rule of thumb is, in any environment, the light is always coming in more from one side more than the other, So if I'm sitting here and there's a window this side, so majority of the light source is going to be coming from the window. Same thing as outside. If you're outside and it's in the early morning, majority of the light source will be coming from the east side, which is going to be on your left or right depending on where you are. And then later on in the day when the sun is setting, majority of your light is going to be coming from the west. So knowing that, what you can do is you can position your key light at a 45-degree angle from the direction your subject is facing. So if I'm the subject right here, this is the 45-degree angle. So either left or right, you can put your key lights this side or this side, because whatever background you choose after this, the light is either going to be coming from the left or from the right. So 99% of the time, this is going to work with any background. And then in post, depending on your editing software, this function can be called different terms. So it's either the inverse or the flip, you know. So basically this will allow you to change your subject's left side to your right side. So this is the trick that you can use when your background's major light source is coming from the opposite direction to how you shot your subject's light source. So that's something you can do when you're shooting a green screen video and you do not know what background you're gonna use yet. So how you light your subject is you're gonna need a minimum of 2 lights. So you can have more, but 2 will work just fine. So your first light is your key light. This is the main light for your subject. This is the light that allows us to see your subject. That's your key light. The second light is your hair light. So you place your hair light above your subject's head, and this will help you create that separation between the green screen background and your subject. So we didn't have these lights because we only had a limited amount of lights. So what you want to do with your camera is you want to position it in the same angle that the camera that shot your background was in, because you don't want to shoot your subject at a high camera angle whereas your background was clearly shot at a lower camera angle. It's just going to look weird. And you also want to try to match the focal length of your subject to the background's focal length. Look at your background and just try to match the focal length from just cross-referencing between your background image and the video that you're currently shooting with your subject in front of the green screen. So those are just a few things that are just gonna sell the reality that your subject is actually in that background when you're editing. And just make sure that you're shooting at a high enough shutter speed that you're not getting motion blur, because that makes it, when your subject is moving in the green screen, it's gonna show, that green is gonna show. And then if you can, try to shoot in 4K, because that's gonna help you when you're resizing, whether you have to shrink your subject or expand your subject. It's just gonna prevent your video from looking pixelated. For this video, I wanted to have 2 camera angle shots, a front medium and a side close-up, just to make things interesting. That's why you see the green screen going behind our subject and all the way to the right side of our subject. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you all the steps I took in editing to get to the final video. Alright, let's get to it. So basically for this, you can use any editing software, provided that it has a chroma key function. So basically it's a function in your software that allows you to get rid of the green screen background and replace it with a transparent one. So if you shot your video in RAW or log like I have, you want to quickly do a little color correction so that it's easier for the keyer to separate the green part of your video from your subject. Also, if your camera can shoot in RAW or log, I would advise you to do this because this will help you in color grading your subject to match the look of your background, which helps further sell the illusion that your subject really is in that background. So it's a nice touch for you to be able to do that as well. So I'm going to use DaVinci Resolve and I'm going to use a 3D keyer. I'm going to attach it to my video clip. Just come here, click on this, make sure that you are in open effects. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna select the green part of your video, which is your green screen that you want to remove. And then I'm gonna apply the despill function to get rid of the little bit of green screen spillage on my subject. This is usually caused by the green screen reflecting back on your subject. So this is why you have to make sure that you have your subject standing as far as possible from your green screen. And then I'm gonna do a few adjustments to my key to make sure that the edges of my subject are smooth. So for your green screen background images, you can get them from various sources like Envato Elements, Artlist, there's plenty of them, or you can get them from Google. So basically just Googling some copyright-free footage that you can use. I use Envato Elements because I know whatever background I'm getting, it's high quality, whereas on Google, it's like you just find whatever you find in whatever resolution it is. So that's why I would advise that you use a platform that has high quality stock footage. So because I have 2 camera angles for my subjects, I'm gonna need 2 backgrounds. So I'll start with my main background, which is the medium shot right here. I'll adjust the size of my subject to fit the background to make it look more realistic, because you don't want your subject to look bigger or smaller than the environment they're in. I'm going to add a little blur to my background just to try and distract the viewer from paying attention to the background as much, because the more in focus the things that are in the background, the easier it is for the viewer to start noticing that, oh, the size of our person is disproportionate to the chair or any furniture or objects in the environment. So I'm happy with that. So now I'm just gonna color grade my subject to match the look of the background so that it blends in well. I'm also gonna add a window to his left side to make sure it's darker, just to emphasize that it's the shadow side. So if you guys pay attention to our subject's edges here, you can clearly see that he's disappearing into the background. So right here is the importance of a highlight. It separates the subjects from the background. Now for the close-up side, I'm going to have to combine 2 backgrounds because it's a side view of our subject. So we need to show a little bit of the side wall of the room. For the first background, I'll use the same background we used for the medium shot, and I'll just zoom it in to bring it closer, just to give it that look that it's a close-up shot. Because if you shoot a close-up shot with a narrow lens, the background always appears to be closer to the subject. So I'm just trying to like sell the realistic nature of a close-up shot, basically. For the second background, I had to find a picture of a window, because if you look at the picture of our background on the medium shot, you can see that the light is coming in from the right side of the room, and that's what's also happening on our close-up. So having a background with a picture of a window on the right side of the room gives reason or motivates the light coming in from the right side. So I wanted a picture of a window that kind of has the same color scheme or palettes as the picture of our background, so that it looks like it's all in one background. So for me, the color of this window frame right here matches the brown on the other background. So I combined these 2 backgrounds with a bit of resizing, moving the clips to the left and right, up and down, cropping till it fits. Then I also graded the close-up to match the background. Again, I added a blur effect on both backgrounds to direct the focus more on our subject and to give the close-up that shallow depth of field look. Okay, cool. So once I was done with that, I was now able to go back to the edit window and edit my video alternating between my close-up and my medium angle shots with ease. So now I'm gonna play the video for you guys. Let me know what you think, does it look realistic to you? I know we could have done a great job if we had a better pre-production strategy. We would have gotten all the resources that we would have needed to make sure that we shoot our green screen video properly and that we have a background to cross-reference with.
Hi guys, I'm Johan Wert and I'm excited to officially welcome you to Men's Wealth, where we are driven by a desire to see men, all men, walk in authentic masculinity to find out what being a man actually authentically looks like. I am of the firm belief that the more men talk, the more men will talk, and conversations like the ones we are having will be commonplace. I'm glad you are here.
Also, let me know if you guys want me to make more green screen videos showing you guys all the different cool ways you can make use of green screen in your videos. If you learned something new, enjoyed, or found any value in this video, please like and subscribe and click on the notification bell, and let's create some cool videos.